Okay, in this video, I'm going to show you how to make a basic keychain. So let's get started on it. The first thing we're going to want to do is drag out a ruler. So go to the upper right corner, take a ruler and just drag it down onto the work plane. I got a few samples on here just to kind of get you thinking about design. I do want to keep you kind of limited to something not much more than 60 millimeters in either direction. Um, so we'll kind of keep it not too huge. It does also need to be flat on the bottom. It's really critical that it's flat on the bottom. And then since it's a keychain, you probably want some sort of a hole in there so that you can feed a keychain or some string or something through there and tie it onto something. So here are these examples, and we'll go ahead and just, you can see basically that, they're just kind of whatever words you want to put on it and whatever shapes you want to put on it. Just make sure that it's flat on the bottom, that nothing sticks out, that's rounded down below. So let's go and try to make one together. So I'm going to take these ones and just kind of pull them off to the side, give me some room to kind of work here. All right, first decision you're going to need to make is what sort of shape are you going to kind of make for your keychain. You could make a rectangular shape, right? That's flat on the bottom. That's an option. You could make a polygon kind of shape because that's flat on the bottom, right? You couldn't do something well, you can make a heart. That's flat on the bottom. The star is flat on the bottom. Those are all good options. You wouldn't want to make something like this because it's got a big hole in the middle, and where you're going to put items. So that's not really a good choice. This would not be a good choice. It is flat on the bottom, but it doesn't really give you a flat surface on the top to kind of create on. So that's not really a good choice. Obviously, a ball like this is not flat on the bottom, right? It's got a little kind of one point that it attaches to the floor. So that is not going to be printable. So, um, so these are kind of good options here. There may be a few others if you kind of look around, but go with something simple. A cylinder is also good. So it's kind of round, round like that. So decide what kind of shape that you want to use. First, I'm going to do one with, I'm going to use this polygon one. So I'm going to get rid of the rest of these, and I'm going to go with this polygon. All right. So with the polygon, I could change the number of sides on it depending on kind of what I want it to be. I'm going to go with a 5-sided polygon like that. All right. I'm going to make my keychain out of that design here. Okay. Now, as far as the size goes, since I have a ruler down on my work plane, I can just click on this thing, and I'd like you to make an upper limit of no more than 60 millimeters, which is 6 centimeters. So I'm just going to go with, let's say, 50 millimeters on this side, and I'll go with 50 millimeters on this side. And the thickness of this should be probably between 3 and 5 millimeters. We don't want it too thick. So I'm going to make it a little thicker. I'll go with 4 millimeters. All right. All right. And then since this is kind of this way, I'm going to spin it around so that that kind of top part there, that's going to be where I'm going to put the hole for the keychain. So let's start with the hole for the keychain. We're going to drag out a cylinder, but for the hole, we're going to use the hole version, right? That's one that's got those gray kind of lines on it. Drag that out. Now that hole would be obviously way too big for a keychain, but I think a good size for a hole is probably, let's try 5 millimeters by 5 millimeters and see if that is a good choice. Yeah, that's probably going to be about right. So I want to put that hole in here, but I don't want to just sort of drop it in somewhere and just like roughly estimate where's going to be the right place for that. I want to go ahead and align it. I want to get that hole in a proper alignment. So I'm going to select them both, and I'm going to use the align tool, and I'm going to line it up like that. So the hole is right in the middle, right in the middle. So I know it's, actually, I'll just align it this way too. So it's smack in the middle of this thing. I obviously don't want the hole to be drilled in the middle of my keychain. So I'm going to now just use my arrow keys and arrow it up, because I know it's aligned in the center. And so now it's just a matter of how far up I want it. I want it up high enough that it's going to allow me to kind of get a keychain in there, but not so close to the edge that it's going to like literally cut through that edge. So there's a little bit of space there of plastic around there. All right, so I think I've got that where I want it. Now, right now, my hole is just like barely, it's barely just hitting the ground, right? And I want this hole to drill all the way through. So just to make sure that's the case, I'm going to drag that hole down so that some of it's above and some of it's below. See that? Some of it above and some of it below. Now I know that it's gonna cut all the way through. So I've got that hole placed right. I'm going to select them both with the left mouse, and I'm going to hit the group button, and it is now grouped. And so that hole cuts out. Cool. All right, back to my home view. All right, now I don't know what I want to put on this thing. I think I want to put some sort of a little shape on there. Maybe a little heart. I'll put a heart on there. So I'm going to kind of shrink this heart up, and I'm going to raise that heart up, and I'm going to make the heart, I think I'll make it into a solid. I don't want to make that one into a hole. So let me drop it down or just make it a little bit thinner. I'm going to make that a solid. So I want this to also, actually, I think I'm going to actually make it a little bit bigger. I'm going to make it like that. And I'm going to place that so it sort of sits on top of this thing here. So I'll select them both, and I'm going to align again and get them lined up nice in the middle, right? So now that heart is exactly in the center. It's right where I want it to be. And I can now select that heart, and I can drop it down. And I want to drop it down so it's embedded in the plastic, right? I don't want this thing to just sit, certainly don't want it above. That wouldn't be good. And I don't want it just touching. I want it actually in the plastic, okay? So you're like inserting it into the plastic. Of course, you don't want it so deep into the plastic that it goes down through and sticks out the bottom. I don't want that. So I'm gonna raise that back up and just kind of make sure that it's still flat on the bottom, but there's a little bit sticking up. Cool. I think that's a little high, so I'm going to arrow it down a little bit and place it right there. And then I'm going to write mom on here because it's a gift for mom. So I'm going to write mom. Whoops, try it again. M-O-M. There it is. And hit enter. Okay, so now I've got that. Now I can kind of go like that. Make sure it fits into that heart. It's a little bit big still. Try that. Cool. There it is. Now I got a couple options with that. I can leave it like that and just kind of embed it in. That's a little bit too thick. Pull that out. That's a little thick, so I'm going to have to make that a little thinner. Make it a little thinner, and then I can raise it up. And I can decide I'm just gonna sort of embed it into the plastic so it looks like that. Or alternatively, I could make that into a hole, and then when I group that, it'll be a cutout. So it'll look like that, which is kind of neat. So I sort of like that idea. I like the cutout idea. So I'm going to go with that. So I'm going to undo that. And the reason why I undid it is I want to make sure that that is aligned with this other stuff. So pull this out. This should be grouped now. So I'm going to group this. So it's one object. And the color doesn't really matter. I'll make this a little lighter just so we can see it. The color doesn't matter in my design because the keychain is going to be whatever plastic is in the 3D printer. So it doesn't really matter what color your design is. So, all right, now I want to align these two. So I'm going to select them both. I'm going to align them. I'm going to put that there. I'm going to put that there. And now the word mom is perfectly aligned. And now it's just a matter of deciding how much I want to drop it down into the plastic. I'm going to go about like that. And I'm going to group it again. And there's the cutout. And my keychain's ready to go. Yeah, cool. So to send me your keychain so that I can 3D print it, what you're going to do is you're going to, once you're all done, you're going to go to this button over here that says send to, and you're going to scroll down until it's down to the bottom of this window, and you'll click on Invite People. And then you're going to generate a link. You're going to copy that link, and you're going to go into your Gmail, and you're going to Gmail me, just Gmail Mr. Howard, Steve Howard. You'll see my email will pop up, and you're going to Gmail me that link, and then I'll be able to get it on my computer and run it through the slicer and send it to the 3D printer. And you will have yourself a keychain, which is fun. So that is, again, just one idea. Here are some others. I made this mustache one for my dad. And this is, let's say like you've got a cat named Trixie or something, and you want to make a little keychain for your cat's collar. Or maybe you've got a friend you want to make a keychain for, or make one for yourself, attach it to your backpack or whatever. So all sorts of different ideas. If you have questions about how to do it, if you need some help, come ask, and I'll give you some suggestions. Just again, make sure that whatever you send is flat on the bottom. That's the key piece here. All right, good luck and enjoy making your keychain.